So there's what our aftermarket auxiliary fuel tank looks like. We can extend our range by 2.5 more gallons. Top notch. Be a Super Duty pickup truck. There's not much super about this tank. The tank in my Honda is almost big as that. Up north, it may be nice to have plastic fuel pumps. Down here, they're a pain in the neck. They get brittle and they break. It doesn't take much to break one of these. That's all the crud that's in there. It's really like beach sand. We're really close to the ocean, so I call that crap beach sand. So I'll get all that out of there, clean this out. It's hot in here and I got all the fans running. I'll try to talk over them. So we got our tank all cleaned out. It's nice and clean. Good to go. A little smeg of dirt right here. I'll get that out. This is our pickup assembly. Some people call it it's definitely not a fuel pump, but we call it a sending unit. But it serves two purposes. It picks fuel up out of the tank, sends it to the pump. Pump is pulling a vacuum. This is all under vacuum, and it has the fuel float level or sending unit. So that's our connector for our sending unit. This is fuel return. This is fuel supply to the engine. And it's pretty simple. If you look down in there, you'll see an orange nipple. And the fuel returns back into this assembly in the tank through that. And then down here you'll see just a whole assembly here. The fuel's picked up from the very bottom. Right, follow that tube all the way to the bottom. And there's about a 1/16 of an inch gap at the bottom, and it picks fuel up. And the fuel enters this through that little orange rubber thingy. It's like a check valve. And this is all fuel is picked up from the bottom of the tank. So this is our first line of defense with these little nib assemblies. And this keeps, small children and animals, things like that, to get in the tank from being sucked into the fuel pump. So this is the first filter. This little guy here. This is crushed into the tank, and and you're pulling fuel between that little bit of area there. It's going to allow the fuel to go up into here and then be pulled up through here through the negative pressure or vacuum. So if I submerge this in water, you should be able to see water bubbling up through there. See how that opened up? Allow the water in. Let me get a light. Alright, let's see if this works a little better for you. So we're looking at that little orange guy right there. Let's submerge that in water. You can see it lift up and water enter into this. And then when I pick it up, the water stays in it. It's like a little check valve. So if I put that right to the bottom there, you can see it filling and fill the whole thing up. And when I pick it up, all that water will stay right in there. So the way this is designed, any fuel, anything in this tank, doesn't matter what it is, it's going to make its way to the filters and then the engine. Nothing stays in the tank. This thing picks up completely off the bottom. You see how close it is to the thing there. This is spring loaded, crushed into the tank. So it picks up, you pour it in the tank, it's going to pick it up, send it to the filters. We got our Super Duty all together here, and I've driven this thing hundreds of miles personally myself. I've driven it home. I don't know how many nights I drove it home, which I liked. It was a nice truck. The only thing it didn't have that it could have had was air conditioned seats, but satellite radio, the current subscription, cold air conditioning, tons of power. You know, my cup of tea compared to what I normally drive. So I'm gonna let it go. I mean, no, I'm not happy with the decision to patch this system together, but it's not my money. It's not my call. I can make a stand and say, "Hey, I'm not going to work on it. You're on your own. Get someone else to do it." But that's what they're going to do. They're going to get somebody else to do it anyway. So I might as well collect what I can off of it. But you know what this guy's probably going to do? I mean, he's probably going to run straight to a new car lot and get rid of this thing. So I feel really bad for the public that is buying new diesels that are used. All I can tell you guys, if you're in the market for a used diesel, I mean, it doesn't matter, common rail, and it's running DEF fluid. I don't care if it's Dodge, Chevy, or Ford. Do some homework, man. I mean, really check it out. Make sure the truck hasn't been in the shop for any reason. If it has, find out what was done to it. I mean, that's public knowledge. You can figure this stuff out. Don't buy these things sight unseen. Look under the hood. Get somebody to check it out that knows what they're doing. I mean, if you're looking at buying I don't know, let's say this truck retails for 28 grand, and somebody wants to check it out, and they're going to charge $200 to check it out, but they're thorough. That's a no-brainer compared to spending 28 grand on a truck that's going to break down on you before you even get to your first oil change. Possibly. So just be careful out there. I mean, everybody's doesn't have everybody doesn't do things the way they should. I guess what I'm trying to say. You just don't know. I mean, it's buyer beware. Check it out for yourself. So the only thing we've got to do is a little bit of scan tool work to finish this thing up. So let's get the scan tool back on it, and I'll show you. Tell you, I really need to get some software to record my computer, so I don't have to sit there and aim this screen. So I don't have to sit here and aim my camera at this screen with all the blur and whatnot. It's a horrible amount of glare. I said blur, I meant glare. Got the doors open in the shop. Alright. get loaded back up here. Let's get loaded. There's only glare when I'm not in front of the screen here, right? So this IDS kills me. It just drives me nuts. Look at the odometer reading. The odometer reading is 168. That is not the mileage of this truck. The mileage for this truck is 69,000 or 67. How about 62? Mileage is 62,000. Yet it pulls. So where'd this mileage come from? Well, that mileage came from the last truck I worked on. So guess what? I got to delete this session and do it all over again. Now, if I don't pay attention to that, then when I go to pull codes, it'll pull all the codes that were in the last vehicle I worked on, not this vehicle. And man, it really, if you're not paying attention, it really messes you up. And it's just a thorn, a rock in your shoe. So it asked me if it's correct. Well, yeah, that's correct. It's a 6.7, it's an automatic, it's a diesel, it's got 50 state emissions. But then it pulls it up, and half the time it's the wrong VIN, wrong mileage. So, in essence, no, it's not correct. This thing's got 1 million modules in it, so it takes forever to load. There we go, 62,000 miles. So that's us. So let's go over here, and let's do a self-test just to see where we're at. Powertrain, engine, CMTTTCs. All passed, that's good, that's what we want to see. So now we'll go to toolbox, powertrain. We want to go to service functions, we want to reset specified data. Yes. We want to reset our fuel system high pressure side, min fuel mass adaptation for all cylinders, and that's it. Okay, now we want to go back and look at what this thing looks like when it's running. So we're going to go to data logger. We're going to go powertrain. Let's just get engine. And all we're interested in is our fuel adaptation. So we want, I can never ever remember this. They give you so many options here. We got cylinder balance 1, cylinder fuel mod 1, and something else. What is our other option here? Injector quantity mass. I think that's what we want. I can't remember. So when in doubt, I don't want to select them all because it takes forever and it clogs up the screen. We'll just get those 3 and we'll see which one it is, and then we'll back out. But I definitely want commanded versus actual pressure on our fuel. So let's click that, and I can already see what I need. So I want cylinder balance 1. It's measured in grams, and I don't need the injector quantity 1 total. So let's go back. Let's get all the rest of these. We'll get rid of that guy, and that guy, and that guy. Let's start it up. Alright, I'll get you in tight on this. Zero is good. We want to be at 0. I don't know if you remember a while back, You know, we were off the screen. Let me hang it back on a little bit. We were on some of them. They were so far off the screen they wouldn't even read. And as the longer it ran, you know, the closer they came back to 0. Now I've reset this thing, so now it needs to be driven. I mean, they're all back to 0. It needs to really be driven and see how it does. But we're going to simulate driving it just by simply doing a fuel pressure test. So let's do it. So we'll go here, go to powertrain, fuel system test, high pressure test. Starter, get going here. So what we're looking at here is commanded pressure versus measured pressure. And this is our pressure control valve and our volume control valve. And then also our RPM. Alright, all passed like I knew it would. So let's start it back up and let's go back and see what we're looking at here. I don't know if you can see on that last screen, engine RPM can be controlled independently of fuel rail pressure. And so it's, you know, yeah, you don't have to have one to have the other. So like I can come down here and take control of my fuel rail pressure and never raise the RPM. It just starts cackling a lot more. So I've got it up to 7,000 psi. I'm going to take it back down to 5, or in this case about 4,600. So we're good. Can't get any better. You can see that on a brand new vehicle, and those numbers will look just like that. So bottom line is this thing's running, you know, as good as it's going to get. I mean, it's nothing. I would never know that someone had put diesel exhaust fluid in the fuel tank and run it, and then, you know, continue to run it. If they brought it to me, you know, without checking the history, finding out someone worked on it, looking at those numbers, I wouldn't know. Now I can look under the hood and tell. I mean, that little line I put on there, it's difficult to put in there and get exactly back the way it goes from the factory, and I could tell if it's been moved. And a lot of people can tell. They could just say, hey, this has been changed. You know, it's new. So that's a red flag. Something has happened, you know. So food for thought. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. I hope you enjoy, and I'll try to get some more diesel stuff on here.